Hello and welcome to episode 6 of The Final Whistle. I'm Drew Zeigler and I'm joined by James Gougosis. This week we have a couple of intriguing topics, including the championship series in the MLB and the World Series preview, as well as going over week 7 of the NFL season and previewing week 8. So we're going to go over a few games as always, and the first game up will be the Browns and the Colts. The Browns win that game 39-38 in Indianapolis. Kareem Hunt with a couple of scores, Gardner Minshew over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Deshaun Watson, another injury, leaving that game.
Yeah, surprising high-scoring game considering the quarterbacks in play and the Browns' defense, which is probably top 3 in the league. But with the Browns, you wouldn't really expect them to play as well offensively without Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson for most of the game. But no, maybe they do have some more depth. Kareem Hunt, big key in the game, and Amari Cooper. And then on the other side, with Gardner Minshew, I think he's been pretty good. Obviously, they lost the game, but with 300 passing yards, that's not bad for a backup.
Yeah, you mentioned Amari Cooper, not a great game for him, but they put up 40 points. And P.J. Walker, I think he's been the better quarterback of the two. And also, Gardner Minshew, I think he should be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And next game up, AFC West division rival matchup. Chiefs beat the Chargers at Arrowhead 31-17. Mahomes and Kelsey with their best games. Mahomes 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Kelsey 12 catches, 180 yards, and a touchdown. We know who's in attendance there. Is that why?
Probably. I mean, Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes might be one of the best games of their career together with over 400 yards, almost 200 receiving yards. And that Chiefs offense, when they're firing like they did yesterday, I think that's the first time we've seen that all year where they've been smooth and connecting easily throughout the entire game. They've been a little inconsistent, but also the defense played really well, shutting the Chargers down after the first quarter. I think that's really impressive. We haven't really seen Chiefs defense be as elite as they were this year.
Yeah, I mentioned Mahomes and Kelsey's stats, but really the defense has been the key all year, holding teams to under 21 points the entire year. And now, next game, Eagles beat the Dolphins 31-17 in a big-time Sunday Night Football matchup. 2 old Alabama teammate QBs going at it in Tua and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles defense, first team this year to really stop the Dolphins offense. Obviously, Waddle had to leave the game, which could have helped the Eagles a little, but they really contained Tyreek Hill. They didn't let him, except for the one touchdown, they didn't really let him have that like 50-yard reception. They kept everything in front of him. So I think the defense really stood out to me more than the offense for the Eagles.
Yeah, A.J. Brown, though, a huge game in that one. And the big storyline, I think, was 10 penalties against the Dolphins, 0 against the Eagles. And I think that's something the NFL should be looking into. And our last game on Monday night, we had the Vikings and the 49ers matching up in Minneapolis. And the Vikings win that one, surprising to many. Jordan Addison, just huge game, 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards. And Cousins also played very well.
Yeah, Jordan Addison, now that Justin Jefferson's out, he gets more of the targets. This is really his breakout game. I think he's probably one of the best wide receivers out of the last draft, and we finally saw it come together. The 49ers, I think the offense just looks out of sync a little. I don't think they're really firing on all cylinders. They're like not as smooth as they were. It looks very combust and like they're not like playing freely.
Yeah, the Vikings, I'd say, are still a very good football team. They're missing Justin Jefferson, but they're playing well. Their defense has been playing better under Brian Flores at the defensive coordinator, and I think this team's just going to get better throughout the year. And that will conclude our Week 7 segment, and when we come back from this break, we will make our picks for Week 8. Yeah, and now to our pick'em standings. A tough week, really, to pick for both of us. You went 4-8. I went 7-5. Now we're evened up at 55-32 for both of us, so it'll be interesting to go into next week. And now our game of the week picks. You've got the Jaguars at Steelers, 1 o'clock game, but 2 good AFC teams matching up.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers surprisingly 4-2. They haven't been playing well really all season, but that's with Mike Tomlin. They always find to win games. And the Jaguars, coming off a win against the Saints, I think it'll be a good AFC conference matchup. I think the Jaguars will come out on top. I think they're just a better team, and I think they'll outplay the Steelers.
Yeah, I like that game a lot. It'll be an interesting game and could be a playoff preview. And my game, Bengals at 49ers. And the 49ers, I think there's a little bit of distress going on in San Francisco. They don't look like the team they used to be. McCaffrey, he had a good game, a couple of touchdowns, but they couldn't get him the ball into space. And Purdy does not look like the quarterback he was, at least in the beginning of the year and last year. And now locks of the week, you've got Texans -3 versus the Panthers.
Yeah, I think the Texans are just a much better team than the Panthers. Panthers coming off a bye week, so maybe they prepare a little more. But as also, they could be a little rusty. And I think the Texans, with C.J. Stroud playing great this year, I think the Texans will win easily.
Yeah, and my lock, I said it before, it's all this game, the Bengals and the 49ers. I've got the Bengals +5.5 coming off of the bye week, and I think they're going to play great in this game. And now to upset, you've got the Bears upsetting the Chargers on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, there's 3 straight weeks now that the Bears have been playing good football on a 2-game winning streak. Even with their Justin Fields out, they played well against the Raiders. And I think with the Chargers coming off a tough loss against the Chiefs, they haven't been playing great. I think this would be a recipe for disaster for Chargers fans. And I think the Bears are going to put off the upset.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting pick by you, but we'll just have to see for Sunday night at SoFi Stadium. And my pick again, Bengals beating the 49ers. I mentioned it before. And I just think this is a great pick, and I think it's going to happen on Sunday. And that will finish off this segment for the NFL. And when we come back, we'll go over some playoff baseball. And now over to the MLB. When we're recording this, the Rangers just finished off the Astros in Game 7. But tonight for us, the D-backs will play in Philly against the Phillies for Game 7. In that game, the probables are Ranger Suarez and Brandon Fad.
Yeah, I think it's be an interesting game. Both stars were in a pitcher's duel a couple games ago, but I think the Phillies are going to win. Obviously, home field advantage is very good for the Phillies. And Ranger Suarez, 8 games started in the postseason, sub-1 ERA. He's just born to play in the postseason. I think he'll go 5 innings, maybe let up 1 run, and I think the Phillies offense will really rock Fad. I think rookie Game 7 start, it's not an easy task, and I think the Phillies would be all over him.
Yeah, I don't know how you can go against the Phillies in this game, but Suarez, a left-handed pitcher. Diamondbacks have a bunch of right-handed hitters that could match up well against Suarez in this game. So we both picked the Phillies. Now to the ALCS. Rangers beat the Astros in Game 7. Every team win in this game were all away, which is just crazy, to be honest. And Adolis Garcia just on a tear in this playoffs.
Yeah, last time that happened was 2019 World Series when the Astros also lost. But, I mean, Adolis Garcia was a man on a mission, especially in the Game 7. Almost hit a home run in the first inning. Eventually hit a home run 4 for 5. Definitely deserved the MVP. I mean, he really carried. I wouldn't say he carried this offense, but he was really a big time contributor to that offense, which is one of the best teams in offensives in the league. So, and heading into that World Series, I think with all the momentum, you got to expect Adolis Garcia to really start off Game 1. That's my prediction. I think he'll hit Game 1 first inning home run.
All right. Well, time will tell. But obviously, he really sets up a flair in that team. And now over to the Astros. Obviously, a great year, but could be disappointing because of the standards for this team. And Dusty Baker will retire, and that will obviously be a problem for the Astros. Who will they get? And only we'll tell next season. And now to our World Series predictions. We both picked the Phillies, and obviously they're matching up with the Texas Rangers. Rangers will be home in that series for Game 7. Who do you got?
I got the Rangers just because of their pitching. I think pitching all postseason has been great with Eovaldi and Montgomery. Scherzer will definitely be a question mark. Really don't know how he's going to pitch, but I think the Rangers better offense than the Phillies. Even though the Phillies have a great offense, but I think the Rangers pitching is just much better than the Phillies.
Yeah, you obviously mentioned Scherzer, and Scherzer and DeGrom both in the World Series, but not on the Mets. Only Mets could do that, obviously. But I do think the Rangers are also going to win this. I just think they're the hottest team, and that's the team that wins it in these types of series. And the Phillies, they still have to win Game 7, obviously, and I don't think that'll be the easiest task for them, but we'll see. So that'll do it for episode 6 of The Final Whistle, and there'll be more football and World Series talk next week. This has been Drew Zeigler and James Gougosis, and we thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of The Final Whistle.